Because, you know, there has been this feeling that maybe this government is made of William Ruto's friends, right? And William Ruto's buddies. And I said, it is time. You know, I have friends. And I've seen many people ask me, okay, why did you, you know, dismiss the whole cabinet? And then you hired some back. Let me answer it this way. It was necessary to have a fresh start. Because as I told the people of Kenya, we're going to have a broad-based government and we're going to have a fresh start. So that even those I have given another opportunity to serve in cabinet, they must now know that this is new. The terms are different. We may have been friends, but now the terms are different. Number two, I also wanted other people to join in government, because for a long time as Kenyans, we've been divided on sides. And that's why I decided this time around, let me form an administration that has the broader face of Kenya. And that is why you see some of the members of my new cabinet coming from different formations, political formations. And I said I'm going to consult. And I'm going to talk to people who are willing to talk to me. There are those who did not want to talk to me, and that's fine. That's democracy. There are those whom we sat down and we agreed with, and we agreed on the agenda. What are we going to do? In fact, at some point, I was having a conversation, and the conversation went like, okay, the housing program. The housing program was in the manifesto of ODM and was in the manifesto of Kenya Kwanza. True? They're all there. The UHC program, it was on both sides of the divide. There are things that are common between us. And my question is, those things that we have no contest about, can we agree on those things and move the country forward on the things that are not in contention between the sides? And that is how we agreed with ODM to work on the broad-based government that captures some of the items that we all agree on. Number two, let me clarify, as the party leader of ODM did, that we did not form a coalition government, so that nobody should tell us we're trying to compromise the opposition. We did not form, we have no formal coalition arrangement. What we have is running an administration on matters that we have agreed, members of ODM who have agreed to come and work with us so that we can put the country first and be able to deal with the challenges that brings Kenya to where it is, whether it is our housing plan, whether it is matters to do with UHC, and all the other items that we agree on as a nation are important to the people of Kenya. I am not very keen on who takes the credit. I am keen on the transformation of Kenya. So this is what I can tell you about that arrangement. Okay, we have yes, there is a lady there.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Kadra Hussein from More Radio. Mr. President, allow me to just ask a follow-up question on what my colleague has asked. You say that you consulted from different political formation. From what we have as a people, the people who are on the streets did not have T-shirts printed with political parties, identification. Neither did they carry banners that had colors of representation of a political party. So in your broad-based government, as you have said, you've consulted and you've also had people from ODM working with you. Where is the interest of the people being featured in your broad-based government, as they are the ones who prompted us to have this change that we are having right now? Now, to my question, I want us to just take time back, from the inception of the Kenya Kwanza government. When you took the oath of office, you promised to protect the Constitution of Kenya and ensure that the justice system functions well. You protect the rule of law. When you were making your statement on Wednesday, if I'm not wrong, you told us about amendments of some few clauses of the Constitution, including Public Finance Management Act. You also talked about witness, something to do with that. That is an act of, in the Constitution of Kenya. But the populace has this question. Why would we talk about amendments? Why? Those very clauses that we have in the Constitution are not being respected. Like, I'll give you an example. Extrajudicial killings that we have seen, not unless, we can be given files of crime for the people who died. And then also, on that, we had arbitrary arrests. We also have forced disappearances, not unless also the government can explain to the people where these people are, or maybe if you have the information on that. Also, other things is that media rights and freedom, from media censorship and also being granted the opportunity to have the information needed to be given to the public. Also, another issue which I'll just say is on the commission and independent offices, like KNCHR, that is the Kenya National Commission for Human Rights, which you can be publicly held to account when you said about the numbers of people who died. And also we have IPOA, where they've been talking about frustrations in getting information that is necessary to prosecute some of the officers who had gone rogue during the protest. That is just an example I'm giving you about the Constitution. And also something else on leadership and integrity, whereby even one nominated person among those whom you've nominated in your cabinet is actually facing graft case in the EACC currently as we speak. And you talked about Singapore on development. Just a reminder, Mr. President, that in Singapore, they have extreme, serious penalties when it comes to matters corruption. Same as Indonesia. That just shows you how grave economic crimes are, especially matters corruption. So I want to ask you, Mr. President, you've told the Kenyans to give you timeline, actually to give you time to work on these issues, to set things right. If we are to hold you responsible today, Mr. President, what is the way forward from now on, seeing that there is the respect of the rule of law, the very Constitution that you sought to protect, and also in the event that these timelines expire, the ones you've given us, 6 months, 9 months, 3 months, 30 days, if they expire and we see no change, would you wait for the youth to start pushing for you to, out of government? And also, would you heed to the pressure that right now we are actually seeing 14 Kenyans have moved to the courts actually asking for the ouster of you, Mr. President? What do you have to say about that?
Thank you very much. The 14 Kenyans who have gone to court are exercising their democratic right. That is how free this country is. That you can actually go to any court and demand whatever you want in court. That is the taste of the freedom that I stand for in Kenya. And I want to promise you that those Kenyans who have gone to court for whatever reason, they are free to do it, and the courts are free to make whatever decision that is constitutional. You have asked me, I think, 10 questions. Let me try and answer some of them. Number one, you have asked me, the people who went to the streets, they did not carry the color of any political party. That is correct. But remember, they carried the flag of Kenya. And that is why I'm saying, let us put the interest of the people of Kenya first. That is why I am saying this broad-based government must be a government that must do, at the very least, 3 things. And I stated them in my address to the nation. Number one, is the subject of integrity, which you have spoken very clearly about, dealing with the challenge of corruption. I have made very specific interventions. I have suggested very specific interventions on how to deal with the challenge of corruption. I have said we must change the Evidence Act so that corruption cases doesn't take 5, 10 years. That is what happens today, that we should be able to conclude corruption cases in 6 months. I will be making the proposal to Parliament. I hope Parliament agrees with me so that we can deal with the challenge and monster of corruption firmly and decisively. Number 2, I have given my undertaking to the judiciary. In fact, I had an engagement with the Chief Justice a few days ago on my support, on my administration's support for the judiciary. It is demonstrable. When I came into office, I made sure that the judiciary has sufficient resources to be able to discharge their mandate, to be able to deal with corruption cases, to be able to deal with all the other cases. In fact, I am the president that has sworn in the highest number of judges in the shortest time in Kenya to facilitate the judiciary to be able to discharge their mandate. Because it is said, justice denied is justice, justice delayed is justice denied. And you can ask from members of the judiciary my support for the judiciary. In fact, when I came into office, there were 6 judges that have been denied their right to be appointed. I appointed them the first day when I got into office to demonstrate my commitment to the judiciary. Let me also say the following, that on the subject of corruption, I am very clear in my mind, and I will mobilize resources that are available. I will mobilize every resource that is available to deal with the challenge of corruption. Number 2, I also said this new administration must deal with the issue of making sure that we create jobs in Kenya by making sure that we don't import the things that we can manufacture in Kenya. Number 3, I said this new administration I'm setting up must deal with the challenge of making sure that tax expenditure, we spend 400 billion shillings every year of taxpayers' money, paying companies, paying institutions, claiming tax refunds, claiming VAT refunds, in a process that is not thoroughly clear. And I have said that going forward, we have to deal with this problem. So I have laid out a clear roadmap on what the administration I've just appointed must achieve. I know you have said we must respect the Constitution, which we must. And I gave my undertaking to the country that there will be no disappearance of Kenyans. I gave that undertaking. There will be no Kenyans in Rivayala. There will be no Kenyans in Tana River. There was a time we had 30-something bodies of Kenyans in rivers. That will never happen under my watch. And I have said this with clarity. If there is any Kenyan who has disappeared, I want people to step forward and say, Kenyan so-and-so has disappeared. I would be very happy to deal with it. Because under my administration, I have said there will be no disappearance of Kenyans. Again, there will be no extrajudicial killing of Kenyans. I have said that with clarity. And let me also say the following, that as we go forward, we must be truthful. When the Kenya National Human Rights stepped forward with fake news and said 200 Kenyans had been massacred in Githurai, It was a flat lie. I mean, surely. I mean, a whole institution that is supposed to be self-respecting, paid for by the government of Kenya, how can they go and tell the country that 200 Kenyans had been killed, which was utter, falsehood, I hope that's not the organization you want to defend, You cannot defend an organization that runs on fake news. And I will call them out, as Kenyans should call them out. We must stick to what is true. 42 Kenyans died, very unfortunately, in the events of the last 1 month. They shouldn't have died. Some of them in situations where the police were involved. Some of them in situations where criminals were involved. Some of them in different situations. All those situations are under investigations. And I have given undertaking that the government of Kenya will support those families, even as we get to the bottom of what happened in those situations. I have also undertaken that there are Kenyans who unfortunately lost property. We are also going to support them because it was nothing of their doing that occasioned all that happened to happen. Let me also say the following, that I am a great believer in the Constitution, and I will protect. I mean, many countries that have gone through what Kenya have gone through, Bangladesh, for example, they switched off the internet, they switched off the TVs, they did whatever they did. Kenya is running full steam. Internet is available every day. People are talking from all over the place. I mean, newspapers are writing whatever they want. The TV has 4 screens. They are showing what's happening in Kondele, what's happening in where. I mean, what further freedom, surely, would you ask from me? I have the machinery to switch them off. I did not switch them off. Because I am a believer in the rule of law. And I am a believer in free media. That's why the media can go out and demonstrate and call me names and do whatever they want. Doesn't bother me. But that is what freedom is about. That's what democracy is about. So I am very clear about what Katra has said. All you have said that has really come to me is the young people who were out there did not have colors of parties or regions or communities. They had Kenyan flags. And that is why I am committed to making sure that the interests of Kenya, even as I appoint the new administration, come first. What do we do about Kenya first? So that is what I wish to say. Asante sana.